traveling thousands of miles for love, a pregnant wife finds her billionaire husband with his mistress and leaves. They say true love can make a person travel great distances, crossing oceans and mountains, just for one more glimpse of the one who owns their heart. But what happens when those trembling steps toward a blissful reunion lead only to betrayal? Amelia Watson, pregnant and vulnerable, journeys thousands of miles to surprise her billionaire husband, Benjamin Carter, only to discover his entanglement with a beguiling mistress. The shock of that moment shatters her world. Left with no choice but to walk away from the life she thought she knew, Amelia's story unfolds as an epic saga of heartbreak, resilience, and daring self-discovery. Amelia Watson stared at the flickering seatbelt sign above her head, feeling a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She was nearly 7 months pregnant and had defied doctors' orders to take this long flight from London to Los Angeles. She couldn't wait any longer to see her husband, Benjamin Carter, a billionaire real estate mogul, known to grace the covers of major magazines like Forbes and Fortune. Over the last few months, his phone calls had become alarmingly brief, his texts sporadic. The time difference and his supposed business expansions had provided him ample excuses for not returning her calls on time, but a gnawing feeling told her something else was at play. Despite the weight of her pregnant belly, Amelia tried to find the comfortable position she had paid extra for in business class. She couldn't shake the sense that Benjamin was hiding something monumental. He had always prided himself on transparency, showing her every new skyscraper blueprint, every charity gala invitation, and even letting her meet important figures like Warren Buffett's longtime advisor on one of their honeymoon trips. Yet, over the last few months, something shifted. Instead of hearing about new acquisitions, Amelia was receiving vague responses and receipts for luxury items she never saw. There was also a suspicious text message she once glimpsed on his phone screen. "I miss you, B." Last night was unforgettable. From a contact named simply EP. Amelia replayed that moment in her mind constantly. She had hoped it was a misunderstanding, perhaps a business partner or a friend who used affectionate language. She even tried to push it aside and trust her husband, but it had festered in her thoughts. And when she confided in her best friend, Sophia Green, about the cryptic text, Sophia advised her to go to Los Angeles unannounced. "If everything's fine, it'll be a great surprise," Sophia had said. "But if your gut feeling is right, it's better to know now than later." The flight had been turbulent both physically and emotionally. Each time Amelia felt the plane lurch, she cradled her belly and soothed her unborn baby girl, whispering words of comfort. A part of her feared the stress might harm the baby, but the burning need for the truth outweighed every warning. By the time the plane touched down, Amelia's heart thumped in her chest. She tried calling Benjamin from the airport, but his number went straight to voicemail. With trembling hands, she texted him again, "I've landed in La. Hope to see you soon, my love." Then, determined to keep a brave face, she hailed a cab. A short while later, she would step into her worst nightmare, a scene that would irrevocably change her life. Amelia's driver pulled up to the diamond penthouse, a lavish high-rise that Benjamin had purchased during an extravagant bidding war. As the glass doors slid open, Amelia was greeted by the building's concierge, a grey-haired man named Joseph. His warm smile faltered slightly when he saw her pregnant belly and recognized her face, but he recovered quickly, clearing his throat. "Mrs. Carter, welcome back," he said, bowing his head respectfully. Amelia's eyes flickered with uncertainty. She had visited the penthouse only once before, during a whirlwind weekend with Benjamin. At the time, it had been devoid of furniture, but the panoramic view of the Los Angeles skyline was unforgettable. She recalled how Benjamin had casually mentioned wanting to fill the penthouse with modern art, and perhaps name it Amelia's Sanctuary. That memory stung her heart now. Where did that sweet husband go? She pressed the elevator button, the golden doors sliding shut around her. A million scenarios whirled in her head. The entire ride felt suffocatingly slow. Amelia rubbed her belly, whispering a silent prayer that all her suspicions would prove false. Yet, the fear in her gut wouldn't relent. The elevator chimed, and the doors opened to a private corridor with double doors that led directly into the penthouse. She fished out the keycard Benjamin had given her months ago, trying to steady her trembling hand. The red light beeped once, then turned green. With a soft click, the doors swung open. Inside, the open-concept living space stretched out like a movie set, pristine white marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, custom Italian furniture in shades of cream and silver, fresh orchids arranged elegantly on side tables. In the center of the living room stood a massive sculpture by renowned artist Anish Kapoor, something Benjamin must have purchased recently. Amelia stepped inside carefully, scanning the space for signs of life. At first, it seemed empty. Her heart picked up pace, worry mixing with relief. Maybe Benjamin was just out at a meeting. But then she heard laughter, a delicate feminine sound, drifting from the direction of the master suite hallway. Suddenly, high-heeled footsteps clicked across the marble. Amelia pressed herself against the wall, unsure why she felt the need to hide. Part of her didn't want to face this moment unprepared. Her heart was racing, blood roaring in her ears. That's when she saw her, a stunning woman with flowing chestnut hair, wearing an emerald silk robe that barely concealed her figure. The woman Evelyn Pierce, a name Amelia would come to learn, moved gracefully through the living room, sipping champagne. She glanced in Amelia's direction, but Amelia managed to stay out of sight, just in time. Amelia's phone buzzed in her purse, making her flinch. The sound was loud in the stillness. She quickly switched it to silent and prepared herself. She had to face reality. She stepped out from the shadows, and Evelyn spun around, their eyes locked in mutual shock. Before Amelia could say a word, a voice called from the bedroom, "Evelyn, darling, who's there?" That familiar timbre sent a jolt of icy dread through Amelia's entire body. Benjamin. The next moment felt like slow motion. Benjamin emerged from the hallway dressed only in a half-buttoned shirt, exposing part of his well-toned chest. His face went ashen the instant he saw Amelia. She stood there, pregnant and vulnerable, thousands of miles from home, her soul crushed by the glimmer of champagne glasses, an unfamiliar woman's robe, and the undeniable proof of betrayal. Benjamin's face twisted in panic, but all Amelia could do was stare at the man she had once believed was her forever. Silence hung in the air like a blade. Evelyn Pierce looked from Amelia's shocked expression to Benjamin's stricken face, and a slow, triumphant smile curled her lips almost as though she had expected this confrontation. Benjamin, however, looked like he wanted to vanish. The tension was suffocating. Amelia's mind felt blank. For months, she'd been grappling with suspicion and worry, but nothing prepared her for the raw punch of betrayal. Right in her own husband's home, she summoned her courage and broke the stillness. "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Why would you do this to me, to our child?" Benjamin opened his mouth, but no words came out. Evelyn stepped forward, leaning casually against the back of a leather couch, swirling her champagne flute as if this were a scene from a soap opera. She didn't try to hide her satisfaction. "I should have known something was off," Amelia continued, tears welling in her eyes. All the lies, the excuses, the endless business meetings. Benjamin raked a hand through his dark hair, his face etched with guilt. "Amelia, it's not what it looks like." A classic line that made Evelyn roll her eyes. He tried to come closer, but Amelia held up a hand, stopping him cold. "It's exactly what it looks like," Amelia spat, tears spilling onto her cheeks. She glared at the champagne glass Evelyn was holding. "Did you think I wouldn't find out?" I'm carrying your child, for God's sake. A muscle twitched in Benjamin's jaw. I never meant for you to get hurt, he managed, sounding pathetically unconvincing. His eyes flicked toward Evelyn, but she offered him no help. In fact, she seemed amused by the entire scene. I need some space, Amelia choked out, feeling as though she was suffocating. I can't breathe in here. She turned toward the door, but Benjamin rushed forward, grabbing her arm gently. Please, Amelia, he pleaded. Let's talk this through. I'll ask Evelyn to leave. We can work this out. She wrenched free of his grasp, staggering back, nearly toppling over, if not for Evelyn's quick reflexes in placing a hand on the small of her back. It was a bizarre moment, being steadied by the very woman who had shattered her marriage. Amelia's face burned with humiliation and anger. The baby kicked inside her, as if responding to the turmoil. She pressed a hand against her stomach, taking a shaky breath. I'm done talking, she whispered, voice cracking. I don't even know who you are anymore. She turned on her heels and walked out, the door slamming behind her. The sound echoed like thunder in her ears. On the elevator ride down, tears streamed down her face as she clutched her belly. She wondered if the next step of her life would be just as terrifyingly uncertain. Joseph, the concierge, noticed Amelia emerging from the elevator in tears. Concern etched into his wrinkled features, he rushed forward. Miss S. Carter, is everything all right? Should I call Mr. Carter for you? His voice was full of sympathy, but all Amelia could do was shake her head. No, Joseph, please don't tell him anything, she whispered, wiping her eyes. I just need a cab, right now. Joseph frowned, but complied. Within minutes, a sleek black SUV pulled up. Amelia slid into the back seat, her tears subsiding into silent trembling. She gave the driver the address of a small boutique hotel she had stayed in during a previous trip, the Rosemont Inn, run by a warm, older couple named Linda and Gary Rosenthal. She remembered how Linda had fussed over her, offering tea and extra blankets, when she was there on a short visit last year. The drive took them through the bustling heart of Los Angeles, past towering palm trees, glitzy billboards, and tourists snapping photos. Amelia stared out the window, numb. She was homeless in a city that was supposed to be her second home, married to a man who was entertaining his mistress in their penthouse. When the SUV finally stopped at the Rosemont Inn, Amelia felt a pang of relief upon seeing the ivy-covered facade. She stepped inside, and almost instantly, Linda recognized her. Amelia, dear. Linda's eyes moved to Amelia's visibly pregnant belly. Oh my goodness, you're expecting, and you look so upset. What's happened? Amelia managed a weak smile, forcing back tears. It's a long story, Linda. I need a room just for a few nights. I need some time to figure things out. Linda's motherly concern enveloped Amelia like a warm hug. She led her to a cozy suite on the second floor, with floral wallpaper and a comfortable armchair by the window. The moment Amelia closed the door behind her, she sank onto the bed, letting out a shaky breath. She reached for her phone, noticing multiple missed calls from Benjamin. Each ring was like a thorn digging deeper into her heart. She ignored them all. Instead, she dialed her best friend, Sophia Green, back in London. Sophia answered on the second ring, her voice bright but quickly turning somber when she heard Amelia sobbing. Amelia, what happened? Are you okay? Is the baby all right? Amelia explained everything: the flight, the penthouse, Evelyn Pierce. Her friend listened in horrified silence, occasionally letting out disbelieving gasps. I can't believe he'd do this, Sophia said when Amelia finished. He always seemed so genuine. He adored you. At least, that's what he told everyone. You have to get away from him. Don't let him manipulate you. Tears sprang to Amelia's eyes again. I already left. I'm at the Rosemont Inn. I don't know what to do next. You rest, Sophia urged. You're 7 months pregnant and under so much stress. Promise me you won't make any rash decisions until you've cleared your head. Your baby's health comes first." Amelia nodded, though Sophia couldn't see her through the phone. "I promise." After hanging up, Amelia gazed at the modest room. The bed's patchwork quilt and the faint scent of lavender from the sachets in the closet made her feel marginally calmer. She didn't know how or when, but she resolved to reclaim control of her life. The next steps would be painful, but they would be hers to decide. Early the next morning, Amelia found herself sitting in Linda's cozy kitchen, sipping a cup of chamomile tea. She had barely slept, haunted by images of Benjamin and Evelyn, but Linda's gentle concern provided a soothing balm. Linda was a kind soul, known to all her guests as a confidant with a knack for listening. This morning, her kitchen was filled with the aroma of freshly baked scones, but Amelia could hardly stomach any food. "Sweetheart," Linda began, ladling more hot water into Amelia's teacup, "you don't have to tell me everything, but sometimes it helps to talk. I've been married a long time. I know relationships can be complicated." Amelia exhaled, feeling tears prick her eyes again. She explained the situation in broad strokes, her husband's infidelity, her pregnancy, and her current quandary of not knowing whether to return to London or stay in Los Angeles to settle matters. Linda listened intently, occasionally shaking her head in dismay. "I've seen your husband's face in the papers," Linda said softly. "Benjamin Carter, the billionaire developer, right? He donated quite a bit to that new children's hospital downtown. The press made him out to be a hero." Amelia snorted bitterly. "Yes, that's him, philanthropic and charming to the public. A liar in private." Linda reached across the table, placing a comforting hand on Amelia's. "I'm so sorry. No one deserves that kind of betrayal. But think carefully, dear. You have a child on the way. He or she will need you at your best." Amelia nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. "I'm trying. It just feels like my world shattered overnight. I've spent 2 years supporting Benjamin's dreams, traveling to meet clients, planning charity events by his side. And now, I feel so stupid for not seeing this coming." "Don't blame yourself," Linda said firmly. "Trust isn't stupidity, it's love." Amelia managed a small smile, appreciating Linda's words. She knew she couldn't stay holed up here forever. She had to decide how to move forward legally, emotionally, financially. Would she confront Benjamin again? Seek a divorce? Try to salvage anything for the sake of her child? A sudden vibration in her pocket made her jump. She glanced at her phone, another call from Benjamin. She ignored it, but then a text popped up. "I've made a horrible mistake. Please come back. I love you. I'll do whatever you want." Amelia's eyes filled with tears again. She wished she could believe him, but the memory of Evelyn's mocking gaze was too fresh. Before she could even process the text, another message came through from an unknown number. "This is Evelyn Pierce. We need to talk. It's important." Amelia stared at the screen, her heart pounding. Why would Evelyn want to talk to her? What new twist could possibly be lurking around the corner? Torn between curiosity and anger, Amelia considered deleting Evelyn's message and changing her phone number. But something held her back. She typed a terse reply. "What do you want?" Within minutes, Evelyn sent an address, an upscale cafe in West Hollywood called Café Lumière, and a time. Amelia felt an internal battle. Was she truly desperate enough to meet Benjamin's mistress in a public place? She told herself she needed answers. There had to be a reason Evelyn was reaching out, and maybe it was something Amelia needed to hear. Later that afternoon, Amelia arrived at Café Lumière. The place exuded trendy sophistication, with glass chandeliers, pastel walls, and a mouth-watering bakery display at the entrance. She spotted Evelyn at a corner table near the window. The woman looked glamorous, even in casual attire designer sunglasses perched atop her head, a white blouse tucked into slim jeans, and an impossibly flawless complexion. Amelia instantly felt self-conscious about her own rumpled dress and tired eyes. Evelyn glanced up as Amelia approached, offering a small, uncertain smile. "You came," she said, waving a manicured hand at the empty seat opposite her. Amelia sat down without pleasantries, crossing her arms. "I don't want to be here, so let's just cut to the chase." "Why did you contact me?" Evelyn took a deep breath. "I know I'm the last person you want to see, but there are things you need to know about Benjamin. Things that might affect you and your baby." Amelia's jaw tightened. "Spare me the heartbreak. I've already seen enough. If you're hoping to gloat or rub salt in my wounds—" "It's not that," Evelyn interjected, reaching for her iced latte. "Look, I didn't plan on falling for a married man. I know that sounds cliché, but it's the truth. He told me your marriage was basically over, that you were staying in London permanently, and that he needed companionship here in La. I had no idea you were pregnant until very recently." Amelia felt a surge of anger. "And that made it okay for you to slip into his bed?" Evelyn winced. "No, I know it was wrong, but I'm trying to be honest. I only found out you were pregnant about a month ago, and by then I was already in too deep. Benjamin told me you'd agreed to a separation." "Unbelievable," Amelia muttered, shaking her head. She believed every word, only because she knew how charmingly manipulative Benjamin could be when he wanted something. "So what's this big reveal you dragged me here for?" Evelyn leaned forward, lowering her voice. "He's not just cheating on you, he's in serious trouble. Financial trouble." Amelia blinked. That was the last thing she expected to hear. "Benjamin Carter, the billionaire developer, in financial trouble? Are you sure we're talking about the same man?" Evelyn nodded grimly, rummaging through her oversized handbag. She pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. Amelia glanced inside, seeing documents referencing questionable bank loans, legal claims, and shady partnership deals. One name caught her attention: Darius Lund, a notoriously ruthless venture capitalist rumored to have ties to less than legal activities. "I was with Benjamin when he had a meeting with Darius Lund," Evelyn explained. "The way they talked, it wasn't good. Benjamin is desperate to keep his empire afloat. He owes more money than he can cover right now. That's why he's been traveling so much. He's practically begging wealthy contacts for investments." Amelia shook her head, disbelief mingled with fear. "So he's possibly looking at bankruptcy?" "Or worse," Evelyn said softly. "Lund isn't the type to forgive debts easily. Benjamin's in over his head, and I have reason to believe he might try to use you, your family connections in London, or your unborn child's future trust, anything to secure more funds." Amelia felt nauseated. She thought of all the times Benjamin had asked about her father's business or her grandfather's estate. She never took it seriously. Her side of the family wasn't nearly as wealthy as his. But maybe in desperation, any angle looked tempting to him. "Why are you telling me this?" Amelia asked, her voice wavering. Evelyn looked down, her composure faltering for the first time. "Because this entire situation feels wrong, and because I'm pregnant too." Amelia's world spun. She clutched the edge of the table, her voice coming out in a whisper. "What did you just say?" "You heard me," Evelyn said, tears forming in her eyes. "I'm about 2 months along. I found out last week. Benjamin doesn't even know yet." The cafe seemed to fade around Amelia. All she could see was the woman in front of her, the mistress, now claiming another child with her husband. Her voice shook with unbridled rage and horror. You're pregnant with my husband's baby." Evelyn didn't deny it. She reached out to cover Amelia's hand, but Amelia recoiled. "I know you have no reason to believe me," Evelyn pleaded, "but I'm telling you all this because I think you deserve the truth. I'm not looking for your pity. I just want to do the right thing for once." Amelia stood abruptly, nearly knocking over her chair. She stared at Evelyn, mind reeling. Every ounce of her being screamed to run, to protect her unborn child from this maelstrom. Without another word, Amelia stormed out of the cafe, leaving the folder and its damning contents behind. She didn't want to see or hear any more. She just needed to escape this brutal reality. Back at the Rosemont Inn, Amelia collapsed onto the floral armchair in her suite, her body trembling with anger and disbelief. She couldn't stop replaying Evelyn's revelation about her own pregnancy. The cruel irony of it all, she had come to La to surprise her husband, only to discover his mistress was also carrying his child. She called Sophia again, her voice shaky. "You won't believe what happened," she began. She recounted every detail of her meeting with Evelyn, the folder of incriminating financial documents, and the final bombshell. On the other end, Sophia was speechless for several moments. "Amelia, my God," Sophia finally said. "This is insane. Are you okay? How's the baby?" Amelia placed a protective hand over her belly. "I'm not okay, but the baby's fine. I can feel her moving. She's strong." A swell of love and determination surged in Amelia's heart as she thought about her daughter. No matter what happened, she had to be strong for this innocent life. "I don't know what to do," Amelia continued. "I can't even bear the thought of seeing Benjamin again, but I need answers. And if what Evelyn said is true about his financial troubles, that complicates everything, especially if I divorce him. I'm terrified he'll try something underhanded, given his desperation." Sophia clicked her tongue. "You need legal advice, Amelia. Proper, ironclad legal advice. Pack your bags and come home to London. We'll find you the best solicitor. Or if you insist on dealing with this in law, find an attorney there first. But whatever you do, don't let Benjamin manipulate you into anything." Amelia nodded, tears pricking her eyes again. "I'll find a lawyer. I'll protect my child. I promise." After the call ended, Amelia researched family law attorneys in Los Angeles. Her gaze landed on a reputable firm, Caldwell and Monroe, which had glowing reviews and a history of handling high-profile divorces. The name Alexis Monroe appeared repeatedly in testimonials, lauding her for her tenacity and discretion. Steeling herself, Amelia made the call. A calm, professional voice answered and scheduled an appointment for the next morning. Amelia felt a small sense of relief. At least she was doing something concrete, something proactive. She couldn't just be another damsel undone by betrayal. That night she lay in bed, wide awake. Fear, heartbreak, and anger warred within her. She remembered the early days of her marriage, how Benjamin would surprise her with flowers just because, how he'd fly halfway across the world to spend a weekend with her when her mother fell ill. She had believed in his goodness. Now all of that seemed tainted a lie. Yet, as her baby kicked inside her, Amelia found a spark of defiance. She was not going to let this ruin her or her child's future. If Benjamin Carter wanted to betray her, so be it. She would not stand idle. Tomorrow, she would face a lawyer and begin carving out a path forward, one free of Benjamin's lies and manipulations. The next morning, Amelia arrived at Caldwell and Monroe, located in a sleek, glass-sided building in downtown La. Her nerves threatened to overwhelm her, but she held her head high. The receptionist greeted her politely and ushered her into a conference room adorned with abstract art and plush leather chairs. A few minutes later, Alexis Monroe entered, a poised woman in her late 30s. Clad in a tailored navy suit, she radiated professionalism and confidence. Extending a hand, she greeted Amelia warmly. "Mrs. Carter, I'm so glad you reached out. Please, have a seat and make yourself comfortable." Amelia sat down, smoothing her blouse over her pregnant belly. She immediately felt a sense of relief in Alexis's presence. Once they were settled, Amelia recounted everything: her unexpected arrival, discovering Evelyn Pierce, the hints of Benjamin's financial troubles, and the mistress's pregnancy. Alexis listened intently, occasionally jotting down notes on a legal pad. "You have several key concerns here," Alexis said when Amelia finished. First, the emotional and psychological toll is immense, and I'm sorry you're going through this. But from a legal standpoint, we need to consider how California family law applies to your situation. Second, if Mr. Carter's finances are indeed in jeopardy, we should look into protecting your assets, especially any potential inheritance or trust you might have. Third, the unborn child is also a central factor. Typically, California law is quite strict about child support and paternity. Finally, if Miss Pierce is also pregnant, that could complicate matters related to spousal support and community property. Amelia's head swam. I'm overwhelmed, she admitted. I never thought I'd be discussing divorce and finances like this, not with the father of my child. Alexis offered a compassionate nod. I understand. You need to decide whether you want to pursue a legal separation or file for divorce. A separation might offer you time to think things through while still legally protecting you. If you prefer a clean break, we can file for divorce on grounds of irreconcilable differences. Infidelity isn't always a direct factor in California's no-fault divorce system, but it can influence spousal support negotiations if it's linked to financial misconduct. What about his potential debts? Amelia asked, worry etched on her face. That's why it's crucial we gather as much information as possible. If Mr. Carter is in deep financial trouble, you don't want to be saddled with any personal liability. We can file motions to separate your finances and demonstrate that any new debts he's accruing are not part of the marital estate. We'll need documentation of your personal assets, any joint accounts, and any prenuptial agreements, if you have one. Amelia recalled the prenuptial agreement they had signed. It was fairly standard, not heavily in Benjamin's favor, since he had insisted they share everything. How naive that seemed now. All right, Amelia said, taking a fortifying breath. I want to move forward with legal separation first. If there's no chance of reconciliation, we can transition to divorce. But I need to protect myself and the baby. I need to ensure that we have enough financial support to live without constantly looking over our shoulders. Alexis smiled gently. We can do that. I'll need you to sign some forms to get the process underway. After that, we'll draft a petition for legal separation. This will require Mr. Carter to respond, and we'll have a temporary hearing if necessary for spousal and child support. Once the baby is born, you're doing the right thing. Relief washed over Amelia. For the first time since discovering Benjamin's betrayal, she felt she was taking control of her life. Signing the documents made it real. Her marriage was no longer a safe haven, but a battleground she had to navigate carefully. And so, with a few swift signatures, Amelia Watson Carter took her first step toward freedom. Leaving Caldwell and Monroe, Amelia felt a bittersweet sense of empowerment. She was embarking on a journey she never asked for, but one she had to face to protect herself and her unborn child. She clutched the folder of documents that Alexis Monroe had given her, cradling them like a shield. As she stepped onto the bustling sidewalk, camera flashes erupted without warning. A throng of paparazzi materialized, seemingly out of nowhere, snapping photos and shouting questions. Amelia, is it true Benjamin Carter cheated on you? Are you divorcing him? How far along is your pregnancy? Amelia froze, momentarily blinded by the strobe of flashbulbs. She instinctively placed a hand over her belly, trying to shield her unborn child from the frenzy. Heart hammering, she pushed past the shouting men with cameras. Her mind raced. How did they know she was here? She managed to duck into a waiting taxi, slamming the door shut as the paparazzi pressed against the windows. The driver glanced at her in the rearview mirror, a sympathetic twist to his mouth. "Where to, ma'am?" "The Rosemont Inn," she choked out, tears pricking her eyes. She was too overwhelmed to consider going anywhere else. She needed the safety of Linda's motherly embrace. During the ride, her phone buzzed constantly. She checked the notifications, dozens of missed calls from numbers she didn't recognize. Then a message from an old acquaintance at the Los Angeles Daily. Amelia, I'm so sorry this is happening. Word is, Benjamin's PR team leaked that you've left him. The tabloids are feasting on the rumors of another woman. Amelia felt sick. Her personal heartbreak was being turned into headline fodder. She turned off her phone entirely, unwilling to entertain the barrage of sensationalism. By the time she arrived at the Rosemont Inn, Linda was waiting in the lobby, her face etched with worry. "Oh, my dear, are you okay?" Linda rushed forward, noticing Amelia's tear-streaked cheeks and the swarm of paparazzi vehicles inching away from the inn's entrance. "I saw those men outside. I told Gary to shoo them away, but they didn't listen." Amelia shook her head. "No, it's fine. I'm just so tired. I can't believe this is happening. Benjamin, he must be behind these leaks. Come, let's get you upstairs," Linda said gently. "You need rest, and I'll have some warm soup sent up for you." Safely in her room, Amelia locked the door, sank onto the bed, and stared at the ceiling. She couldn't escape this nightmare: her husband's betrayal, his mistress's pregnancy, his looming financial disaster, and now the paparazzi. It was all spiraling out of control. She had to stay strong, for herself and her child. But in that quiet moment, she allowed herself a few minutes of deep, unrestrained weeping. A couple of days passed in relative solitude. Linda and Gary went to great lengths to protect Amelia's privacy, directing inquisitive reporters away and ensuring only the staff had access to the second floor. Sophia texted her constantly, urging her to come back to London, and Alexis Monroe was busy filing legal paperwork on Amelia's behalf. One afternoon, Amelia was reading in bed, trying to distract herself with a historical romance novel. When she heard urgent footsteps in the hallway, she tensed, placing the book aside. A moment later, there was a soft knock on the door. "Amelia," came Linda's muffled voice. "I'm sorry to bother you, but your husband is downstairs." Amelia's breath caught in her throat. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, instantly dizzy with dread. "Benjamin? He's here?" "Yes," Linda replied quietly. "He's demanding to see you. He looks quite upset, dear." "What should I do?" Amelia hesitated. Part of her wanted to bar the door, never let him near again, but another part, still raw with heartbreak, needed closure or at least an explanation. Gritting her teeth, she told Linda to let him come up. Moments later, Benjamin stepped into her room. He looked disheveled, dark circles under his eyes, hair messy as though he hadn't slept. His usual poised demeanor was gone, replaced by a trembling desperation. "Amelia," he croaked, voice thick with emotion. "I'm so sorry. Please, I need to talk to you." Amelia stood, arms folded protectively over her belly. "You have 5 minutes," she said coolly. Benjamin swallowed hard. "I was an idiot. I messed up. I know." I can't even begin to express how sorry I am. Evelyn means nothing to me." "Stop lying," Amelia interjected, anger flashing in her eyes. "She's pregnant. With your child." Benjamin's mouth fell open in shock. It was clear he hadn't known. After a stunned pause, he ran a hand over his face. "Oh, God. I didn't know. Amelia, you have to believe me. I never wanted this." Amelia's chest felt tight. "You betrayed me. You lied. And now you want me to believe your excuses? That's not happening." Benjamin ran a hand through his hair, eyes glistening. "I've been under so much pressure. My business, it's not doing well. I was too proud to ask for help. Evelyn was just there, and I was weak. But I love you, Amelia. I don't want to lose you." Tears sprang to Amelia's eyes, but she blinked them back. "You already lost me. You lost me the moment I saw you with another woman in our home. The only reason you're here now is because everything is unraveling, isn't it? Because you're desperate." Benjamin's breath hitched. Yes, I'm desperate, he admitted. I'm not too proud to say it. But it's not just about the money. I'm desperate for you to come back. We can fix this. We can't fix anything, Amelia said, her voice trembling. I've hired a lawyer. We're filing for legal separation. Benjamin's face turned white. He sank into the armchair, burying his head in his hands. Please, he whispered, give me one more chance. Amelia shook her head slowly. I already gave you everything, and you threw it away. Now I have to protect myself and my baby. If you want to do something right, then don't contest the separation and don't fight me on child support. That's the only way you can help me now. Benjamin looked utterly broken, but Amelia felt no satisfaction in seeing him this way, only heartbreak, that the man she once loved more than life itself had caused her such pain. He stood, attempting to approach her, but she backed away. Goodbye, Benjamin, she managed, voice tight. Let me have my peace. He lingered for a moment, as if hoping she'd change her mind. But when she didn't, he walked out, shoulders slumped in defeat. The moment he was gone, Amelia collapsed onto the bed, gripping her belly, tears streaming down her face. She felt the baby move again, as if in empathy. Stroking her bump, Amelia whispered, We'll be okay, my sweet girl. We'll find our way. In the days following Benjamin's visit, Amelia found herself the target of relentless media coverage. Photos of her leaving Caldwell and Monroe leaked online, fueling rumors that she was gearing up for a massive divorce settlement. Journalists camped outside the Rosemont Inn day and night, hoping to snap a picture of the scorned, pregnant wife. Evelyn Pierce's name also surfaced in tabloids, rumored to be pregnant with Benjamin's child. The press had a field day comparing Amelia's and Evelyn's looks, speculation swirling about which woman Benjamin would choose. Amelia found the coverage sickening and invasive. Sophia called frequently, urging Amelia to return to London. Her mother also pleaded for her to come home. Amelia wrestled with the decision. Part of her longed to flee this toxic environment and find solace in her homeland. But her legal situation was precarious. Alexis Monroe had advised her to stay in California until the separation was formally filed and recognized. Fleeing to England might complicate jurisdiction over child support. Amelia wrestled with whether to appear on a talk show to defend herself. Offers poured in from media outlets wanting an exclusive interview. She declined them all. She refused to turn this heartbreak into a public spectacle. Still, the stress weighed on her heavily. One afternoon, she felt faint while trying to dodge paparazzi outside. Alarmed, Linda insisted she visit a doctor for a checkup. At the hospital, a kindly obstetrician named Dr. Rebecca Johnson, recognized from her volunteer stints at the same charity events Benjamin once hosted, did a thorough examination. Your baby is healthy, Dr. Johnson assured her, but your blood pressure is a bit elevated. Stress can do that. You need to rest, Amelia. Amelia nodded, tears welling. She was relieved her baby was okay, but the constant harassment was taking a toll. Returning to the Rosemont Inn, she mustered her resolve once more. She would see this through. She would finalize her separation, secure her child's future, and then she would leave Los Angeles behind. One evening, while staring at the city lights from her window, Amelia received an unexpected call from Darius Lund, the man rumored to be pressuring Benjamin financially. She nearly let it go to voicemail, but curiosity got the better of her. Miss S. Carter, came the smooth, chilling voice on the other end. I believe we should talk about your husband's obligations. A wave of dread washed over her. I have nothing to do with Benjamin's debts, she said firmly, and I have no intention of discussing them with anyone. Darius chuckled, a cold sound. I'm afraid you do. Under California community property laws, your husband's liabilities might become relevant to you, particularly if he's trying to stash assets or shift them into your name. Amelia stiffened. Could Benjamin have tried something underhanded without her knowledge? Whatever he's done, "It's not my responsibility," she said, her voice trembling. "It could be, if you remain married," Darius replied with unnerving calm. "I strongly suggest you expedite your legal separation, or you may find yourself entangled in lawsuits, ones that could endanger your child's future. If you need confirmation, ask your husband how desperate he truly is. He might be trying to funnel money through your family's London trusts." The call ended abruptly, leaving Amelia shaking. She immediately dialed Alexis Monroe, relaying what had happened. Alexis was alarmed, promising to file additional paperwork to protect Amelia's assets. They would accelerate the legal separation timeline and put Benjamin on notice that any attempt to involve Amelia in his debts would be met with legal force. In that moment, Amelia realized the full extent of Benjamin's betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was a potential financial entrapment that threatened to swallow her life. She resolved to fight back with everything she had. She was no longer the meek wife. She was a mother protecting her child. Weeks passed in a blur of legal filings and emotional turmoil. Amelia stayed mostly secluded, only venturing out for doctor's appointments and meetings with Alexis. Linda and Gary continued to shield her from the paparazzi as best they could, while Sophia provided emotional support from thousands of miles away. During this time, Amelia received sporadic texts from Evelyn Pierce, the other woman. Most were simple updates about her own pregnancy, ultrasound appointments, morning sickness, the dread of public scrutiny. Amelia never replied, but she read them. Oddly, there was a strange kinship, forming a bond forged by betrayal and heartbreak. They were both pregnant, both used by the same man. Then, one afternoon, Evelyn appeared at the Rosemont Inn, slipping past the paparazzi. Linda, not recognizing her at first, allowed her in. Amelia was stunned to find Evelyn in the lobby, looking visibly pale and distraught. "Please don't throw me out," Evelyn said, voice trembling. "I just need to talk to you. I have nowhere else to go." Against her better judgment, Amelia led Evelyn into the garden area for a private conversation. Evelyn looked thinner, her usually flawless hair pulled back into a simple ponytail. She was about 4 months pregnant now, a slight curve visible under her loose shirt. "What do you want?" Amelia asked, arms crossed. "I ended things with Benjamin," Evelyn said softly. "He tried to convince me we could raise the child together, but I can't trust him. I'm going to raise this baby on my own." She took a shaky breath. "I just wanted you to know that whatever happens with you and Benjamin, I'm not going to interfere in your life again. I'm not after money. I just want peace." Amelia studied Evelyn's face, seeing genuine remorse. She felt a pang of empathy. Evelyn, too, was a victim of Benjamin's manipulations, though she'd played a part in the affair. "Thank you for telling me," Amelia said quietly, "but I can't say I forgive you. Not yet." Evelyn nodded, tears glistening. "I don't expect forgiveness, but I am sorry for everything." She left soon after, and Amelia watched her go with conflicting emotions swirling in her chest. She didn't want to befriend Evelyn, but in a twisted way, their lives were interlinked through Benjamin's choices. Both of them carried a piece of him, yet neither wanted him in their lives anymore. It was a sobering realization. The day of the temporary separation hearing arrived. Amelia dressed in a simple black maternity dress, her stomach now very pronounced. Alexis had prepped her, explaining she might have to testify briefly about the state of the marriage and her need for immediate spousal support. Walking into the courtroom, Amelia felt her pulse pounding. Benjamin was there, flanked by his own legal team. He looked gaunt, stress etched into every line of his face. He avoided Amelia's gaze, staring instead at the polished courtroom floor. The hearing was swift, with both sides presenting evidence of the marriage breakdown. Alexis argued passionately that Amelia needed financial support until the baby's birth, especially given her lack of any steady income since she had devoted herself fully to Benjamin's hectic lifestyle. Benjamin's lawyers tried to argue that his finances were in flux, but Alexis countered with evidence that he still held majority shares in several real estate developments. The judge, a stern woman with silver hair, listened patiently, then ruled in Amelia's favor. Benjamin was to pay a monthly allowance sufficient to cover her expenses, plus a lump sum for prenatal medical costs. After the hearing, Benjamin approached Amelia in the corridor, his shoulders hunched in defeat. "Congratulations," he said bitterly. "You won." Amelia glared at him. "This isn't about winning, Benjamin. This is about doing the right thing for our child." He opened his mouth to reply, but no words came out. The look in his eyes resembled regret. Then he turned and walked away, swallowed by the throng of attorneys and onlookers. As Amelia watched him go, she felt something close to pity for the man who had it all and threw it away. Weeks turned into a month, and Amelia's due date loomed. The paparazzi drama began to wane as newer celebrity scandals occupied the tabloids. She continued to stay at the Rosemont Inn, having formed a deep bond with Linda and Gary, who treated her like family. One crisp morning, Amelia woke with an ache in her back and a peculiar tightening in her belly. Within hours, those sensations escalated into full-blown contractions. Panicked yet excited, Linda and Gary rushed her to the hospital where Dr. Rebecca Johnson waited. Labor was intense, amplified by the emotional upheaval of recent months, but Amelia summoned all her strength. After hours of pushing, a feeble cry filled the delivery room. A nurse placed a tiny, wriggling bundle in Amelia's arms, a baby girl with a downy tuft of dark hair. Tears of joy streamed down Amelia's face as she cradled her daughter. In that precious moment, all thoughts of betrayal and heartbreak vanished, replaced by overwhelming love and devotion. She named the baby Charlotte after her grandmother. Over the next few days, Linda, Gary, and even Sophia, who flew in from London, took turns visiting. They showered Amelia and little Charlotte with love and support. Benjamin, who had been notified of the birth by Alexis, sent a bouquet of white roses and a note. Amelia hesitated before reading it. "Congratulations on our daughter. I hope one day she will understand. I never meant for this to happen, Benjamin." Amelia shed a quiet tear. She would never erase Benjamin from Charlotte's life. Entirely he was her father, after all. But Amelia would ensure her daughter grew up knowing she was cherished, no matter the circumstances of her parents' marriage. Finally, a week after Charlotte's birth, Amelia received word that the legal separation was formalized. She was free from Benjamin's immediate financial entanglements and recognized as the primary custodian of Charlotte. The final divorce papers would be processed in time, but she had taken the first step toward a new life. On her last day at the Rosemont Inn, Amelia packed her belongings, paused to look around the cozy room that had sheltered her through her darkest times. Linda and Gary embraced her tearfully, promising to keep in touch. Sophia helped carry baby Charlotte's gear as they loaded up a taxi. "Where to now?" Sophia asked, settling into the seat beside Amelia, who held Charlotte gently in her arms. Amelia looked down at her daughter, a soft smile lighting her face. "Back to London, for now. I need to start fresh, away from this city of painful memories. But I'll return if needed to finalize everything. My life isn't tied to a place anymore. It's tied to this little angel." Sophia nodded, eyes warm with understanding. As the taxi pulled away, Amelia felt a bitter-sweet pang. She thought of the long journey she had taken, from a trusting wife to a heartbroken woman, and finally to a mother determined to stand on her own. She had traveled thousands of miles for love, only to find betrayal, but in her darkest hour she had found an unwavering strength within herself. And that, she realized, was the greatest gift she could give her daughter, the example of a woman who refused to be defined by heartbreak, who found the courage to leave and start anew. Amelia's story reminds us that sometimes even the most devastating betrayals can lead to incredible breakthroughs of self-discovery and courage. She journeyed thousands of miles, pregnant and hopeful, only to be met with heartbreak. Yet, from those shattered illusions, she forged a new path, one rooted in self-reliance and love for her daughter Charlotte. Her decision to leave Benjamin Carter and protect her child wasn't just an escape. It was an act of defiance against the lies that once held her captive. Ultimately, Amelia's resilience and unwavering will showcase the power of a woman standing tall, even when her world crumbles. If you found Amelia's journey compelling, her triumph over betrayal, her quest for independence, please make sure to like this video, share it with those who might need a dose of inspiration, and subscribe to our channel for more dramatic, real-life fiction. Your support helps us continue bringing you tales of hope, strength, and new beginnings.